The big story of the day, a new bizarre twist in the Aryan Khan case. A witness in the drugs case against the mega star Shah Rukh Khan's son has made shocking claims of payoffs to the Narcotic Control Bureau's senior officer Sameer Wankhede. Mr. Wankhede has told the Mumbai police that he is being framed.
Shocking revelations by Prabhakar Sale, a witness in Aryan Khan case who claims himself to be the bodyguard of Kiran Gosavi, another witness whose selfie with Aryan Khan at NCB office went viral. In an affidavit filed by Prabhakar, he claims that a deal was discussed between Gosavi and Shah Rukh Khan's manager. Prabhakar claims he heard of an 18 crore deal being agreed, of which 8 crore was to be paid to NCB officer Sameer Wankhede.
त्या गाडीमध्ये SRKची जी मॅनेजर होती ती बसलेली. मग ह्या तिघांमध्ये मीटिंग झाल्या. गाडीमधून परत त्यांनी फोन केला की 25 चा बॉन्ड टाक. लास्ट 18 ला कर कारण की 8 समीर वानखेडे साहेबांना जाणार आहेत.
The NCB officer Sameer Wankhede has denied all charges and said that he will give a fitting reply. The anti-drug agency in an official release said the witness should speak in court and not online. However, the affidavit has been forwarded to the NCB DG. Meanwhile, Shiv Sena MP tweeted a video of Aryan Khan with witness Gosavi and demanded that Maharashtra police step in. The video tweeted by Sena MP Sanjay Raut also shows witness Gosavi and Khan wearing different outfits from the pictures that went viral earlier. This also raises a question that did NCB witness had access to Aryan Khan on multiple occasions.
खबरें आ रही हैं NCB के क्रूज मामले के केस में 1 नंबर का जो उनका पंच है उसने जिस तरह से बयान दिए हैं हमें लगता है इससे चौंकाने वाली चीजों के खुलासे हो रहे हैं. हम पहले दिन से कह रहे थे कि समीर वानखेड़े जब से इस विभाग में आए उन्होंने फिल्म इंडस्ट्री को टारगेट किया. महाराष्ट्र की सरकार को बदनाम करने का उद्देश्य था. फिल्म इंडस्ट्री में डर पैदा हो, बड़े लोगों में शहर में डर पैदा हो और वसूली की जाए, ये पहले दिन से हम कह रहे थे.
This matter does not seem to end, at least at this moment. There are several questions, like for example, was there really a deal, a money talk that happened? Apart from that, Sanjay Raut tweeted a video in which witness Kiran Gosavi can be seen with Aryan Khan, but Kiran Gosavi is in different clothes. Which means, did the NCB allow Kiran Gosavi to meet Aryan Khan more than once? NCB as of now hasn't answered these questions. In Mumbai, with Ashok Madik, Sohit Mishra, NDTV.
Meanwhile, Sameer Wankhede, the senior Narcotics Control Bureau, the NCB officer investigating a number of Bollywood celebrities, including Shah Rukh Khan, the superstar Shah Rukh Khan's son, Aryan Khan, has now sought protection from legal action, fearing, and I'm quoting here, being framed falsely with ulterior motives. Mr. Wankhede has now written to the Mumbai police chief saying, threats of jail and dismissal have been issued against him by highly respectable public functionaries. This statement is being seen as a reference to the NCP leader, the Maharashtra Minister Nawab Malik's recent statement that the officer would lose his job within a year. He had been quoted as saying by the news agency ANI that the BJP has a puppet in Wankhede. He raises bogus cases against people, and I challenge that Wankhede that he lose his job within a year. We have evidence of bogus cases, Mr. Malik was quoted as saying. Now, Mr. Wankhede seeking protection from what he calls precipitate legal action. He says in a letter to the Mumbai police that unknown persons are planning to frame him falsely. And a civilian, yet another civilian, has been killed in firing near security forces camps in Shopia in the district of Jammu and Kashmir. This on Sunday, and now there are multiple versions between the police and the security forces over the circumstances that led to the death of this civilian, an apple seller who was just in his early 20s trying to eke out a living for his family.
An apple seller killed near CRPF camp in Shopian in a controversial firing incident. Shahid Ejaz was shot dead when the vehicle he was travelling was stopped for checking this morning. Police say the apple seller Ejaz was killed in cross-firing after CRPF came under fire from terrorists. But family and locals allege that the 19-year-old was killed by CRPF without any provocation. The family says Ejaz, who was in class 11, dropped out last year and started working as a hawker to earn living for his parents and 2 siblings. The incident happened at a time Home Minister Amit Shah is on a 3-day visit to Jammu and Kashmir. Addressing a rally, the Home Minister said that though the civilian killings have come down, but that is not enough.
30 आंकड़ा कम है मगर हमें संतोष नहीं है। हम ऐसी स्थिति का निर्माण करना चाहते हैं कि एक भी व्यक्ति की जान यहां पर न जाए।
Former J&K CM and National Conference Vice President Omar Abdullah blamed security forces and tweeted that such killings will further alienate people, while another former CM and PDP leader Mehbooba Mufti hit out at the forces and alleged that armed forces are operating with impunity. This is the second such civilian killing. Earlier, a nomad Parvez Ahmed was killed after CRPF opened fire on a vehicle he was travelling in Anantnag. According to police, the CRPF opened fire in self-defense, in which one person died.
An innocent civilian is killed, and there are multiple versions over the circumstances that led to the killing of 19-year-old apple seller Shahid Ejaz. The picture of his lifeless body, his hands inside his farran, and apples scattered on the road speaks louder than words. In Srinagar, Nazir Masoodi, Fine TV.
And Prime Minister Modi will be travelling to Rome, Italy and Glasgow and the United Kingdom from the 29th of October to the 2nd of November to attend the 16th G20 Summit and the World Leaders Summit of COP26 respectively. That's what the Ministry of External Affairs has confirmed. An MEA release stated that Prime Minister Modi will be participating in the 16th G20 Summit in Rome from the 30th to the 31st at the invitation of the Prime Minister of Italy. And the summit will also be attended by heads of state and governments of G20 member countries, the European Union and other invited countries and international organizations. Meanwhile, in the national capital, a man accused of raping a 6-year-old child in West Delhi was arrested in Rohtak on Sunday. This man was seen in the CCTV footage with this young child, with this victim, who is currently being treated at the Ram Manohar Lohia Hospital in the national capital. CCTV footage showed her following this man in a market. The girl's father is a daily wage labourer. Surveillance footage from the area showed the accused with her, and this little girl was seen following him from a market. He was detained today in Rohtak, that is on Sunday, and investigations revealed that he had been arrested earlier for allegedly molesting a minor. And the Kerala Chief Minister has written to the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister about releasing water from the Mullaperiyar Dam to the Vaigai Dam. In his letter, he says, with the current inflow, there is fear that the reservoir levels may reach 142 feet once the torrential rains intensify. Hence, there would arise an urgent need for the gradual release of water from the Mullaperiyar Dam through the tunnel to Tamil Nadu. And I urge the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister to give immediate directions to the authorities concerned to ensure that maximum quantities of water is drawn from the Mullaperiyar Dam through the tunnel to the Vaigai Dam, and to gradually release the water downstream. I also request that the Government of Kerala be intimated about the opening of shutters at least 24 hours in advance to help Kerala take precautionary measures for ensuring the safety of people living downstream of the dam. Remember, Kerala has been racked with horrific floods over the past 2 weeks. Well, there's been a big jolt to the Congress just days before the October 30th Khandwa Burhanpur Lok Sabha bypoll in MP Sachin Birla, the first time Congress MLA from Barwaha, the seat of Khargone district, joined the ruling BJP at Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan's rally. The 27th sitting Congress MLA to have joined the BJP in MP since the Kamal Nath-led government fell following a resignation of its 22 MLAs in March 2020. The former Chief Minister and the Congress MP Digvijay Singh reacted over this news, saying that it's saleable versus durable. And the prices of petrol and diesel in Delhi now stand at 107 rupees per litre and 96 rupees per litre. Petrol and diesel prices in Mumbai stand at 113 and 104 respectively. It's 108 and 99 rupees per litre for diesel in Kolkata, 104 for petrol and 100 rupees in Chennai respectively. According to the government, this increase follows the unrelenting hike in international oil prices. And that is what the government claims is pushing pump rates across India to their highest ever levels. Of course, over and above this, we pay more in taxes, both in central taxes and in state taxes, than for the actual price of this product, petrol and diesel. Right now, petrol is above 100 rupees a litre in all major cities, and diesel has crossed that level in more than a dozen states.
Sailing off the coast of Mumbai, the HMS Queen Elizabeth, the flagship of the Royal Navy, is in the midst of some of the most sophisticated war games with the Indian Navy that have ever been held in the Arabian Sea. These F-35 stealth aircraft, taking off from the deck of the ship, amongst the newest aircraft carriers in the world, will engage Indian Navy and Air Force fighter jets in combat exercises. Accompanying the Queen Elizabeth is an Indian Talwar-class frigate, one of several Indian Navy warships in these exercises. The exercises form the basis of Konkan Shakti 21, the first ever bilateral tri-service exercises between India and the United Kingdom. The message from the UK is clear. India remains a key strategic partner, a relationship that the United Kingdom would like to strengthen.
I'm absolutely delighted that the Royal Navy's ships are able to visit and interact with India, a long-time partner and close friend of the United Kingdom. This is our second round of engagement with you during the CSG-21 deployment. In July, a number of ships from the strike group conducted exercises with the Indian Navy, enhancing our mutual understanding and interoperability. The support of allies and partners has been a constant theme throughout the deployment. Indeed, by the time we return to the United Kingdom in a few months, we will have visited and exercised with over 40 different nations on our journey from the Atlantic Ocean through the Mediterranean and Indian Ocean to the Western Pacific and back again. It is wonderful for the strike group to return to India. The UK and India benefit from a unique living bridge of people, ideas, institutions, arts and culture. The strike group has a full and diverse programme of activities planned around our visit. HMS Defender will provide a wonderful backdrop alongside, with Queen Elizabeth operating just off the coast. So in conclusion, I should stress that the UK is committed to pursuing deeper engagement in the Indo-Pacific in support of shared prosperity and regional stability, with stronger diplomatic and trading ties. The Carrier Strike Group's deployment has been designed to recognise the importance of this region globally. The group's presence also demonstrates our support for the freedom of navigation through vital trading routes and our commitment to an international system of norms that benefits all countries. So thank you, India, for your support to the Carrier Strike Group's deployment and supporting our ships and our sailors. We cherish the special relationship we have with you based on common values and affinities that span many, many areas. We are proud to play our part in continuing to grow and deepen the India-UK relationship.
In the sprawling hangar of the Queen Elizabeth, F-35s and Merlin multi-role helicopters are on display for the visit of the British Foreign Secretary Liz Truss. In this interview to NDTV, she's absolutely clear India remains at the centre of British strategic plans in the area.
Well, India is a key strategic partner of the United Kingdom, and what we're doing is building those closer defensive relationships with our friends and allies around the world. That's why we're here in Mumbai today. We're doing exercises with the Indian Navy, and we are, doing closer work on a permanent basis. And of course, I hope we do deployments like this in the future.
With the displacement of over 65,000 tons and a length of 280 meters, the Queen Elizabeth embarks an air wing of 40 aircraft and has a crew complement of up to 1,700. On board the ship, which is in many senses a mini city, there are sailors from diverse backgrounds. Sarah Pooja Neogi is an operational analyst, a first-generation British national with an Indian background.
What does it feel like to be in these waters so close to Durga Puja? You're from Calcutta as well.
Yes, so it's been very nostalgic because as Durga Puja was happening, we were crossing the Bay of Bengal, so I was telling my family and they were like, try and keep your ear out if you can hear the Dhak playing in the background. But it's the closest I've been actually to Durga Puja. I've never been to Calcutta during that time. But I'm hoping to come back again either later this year or early next year just to visit my family who are really proud of me to be here on board.
What's your experience been on this cruise? It's been very lengthy.
I can tell you it's not been a cruise. It's definitely a lot of hard work, but I've enjoyed it a lot because it's my first time on a military deployment and it's given me a lot of experience. So I work for the UK's Defence Science and Technology Laboratory, and we collect information from this operation. We'll take it back and we help make sure that the technologies that we want to have on board and we want to keep for future operations can be developed further.
Yeah, and you look forward to being home, in December, right, near Christmas?
Yes, exactly. So I would have spent 4 months on board by that point, which is probably the longest time I've been away from my family. So I am looking forward to going back home in December, and they're looking forward to having me back as well.
The Royal Navy's Carrier Strike Group is the largest deployment of its type in the Asia-Pacific region in a generation. It's part of a marked tilt to this region, and this is where the UK and India have common concerns of an expansionist China. The Queen Elizabeth Strike Group recently deployed in the South China Sea as well, along with 2 Royal Navy frigates, 2 destroyers, a supply ship and a nuclear attack submarine. The fleet was supported by a US Navy destroyer and a state-of-the-art Dutch frigate. While at sea, the Queen Elizabeth also worked closely with US aircraft carriers. The mission itself sees the Carrier Strike Group cover 26,000 miles over a period of 28 weeks. That's more than the distance around the world at the equator. But the Royal Navy is a shadow of what it once used to be. And the question that's often asked is whether this sort of UK deployment will be sustained in the future as well.
But it's important that those economic relationships are backed up with security relationships, and I want the relationship with India to go deeper. And I see these relationships as complementary. We're working directly together with India. Australia is working with India. There's the Quad. There are organisations like NATO. But all of this closer working is focused on keeping the world safe and stable and secure. So I'm interested, for example, in interoperability, making it easier for our navies to work together, making it easier for our IT systems to work together. And I'm very keen to develop the relationship with India, but also with other like-minded allies like the United States, like Japan, like Australia.
For now, the key mission word here is interoperability. Can the Royal Navy and the Indian Navy operate together as a fighting force if ever that were required? That can only happen if they keep training together.
The strategic relationship between India and the United Kingdom is set to become much more intense. The Foreign Secretary telling us quite clearly that these exercises will intensify in the years to come. On the deck of the aircraft carrier Queen Elizabeth, Vishnu Shah for India.